The Red Raiders have their new defensive line coach, according to multiple reports, and they went the NFL route, as the Red Raiders have hired Minnesota Vikings assistant defensive line coach Imarjaye Albury. In today's video, we'll discuss his lengthy history in the NFL, how he has Big 12 ties, and how this Texas Tech defensive line coach job was a very highly coveted one. Let's discuss. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Red and Black Report. Appreciate y'all tuning in to today's Texas Tech football video here on the channel. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video and just double check for me that you've hit that subscribe button and turned on that notification bell so you can stay in the know all year long. Just stay in the know a little bit more than your friends, right? So you can sound like the smart guy when it comes down to having that discussion with your buddies when you're having a beer. This is the place for you. I'm telling you, we keep you up to date on everything you need to know about Texas Tech football, whether it's on the gridiron, portal, high school recruiting, coaching news, anything in between. We've got you covered right here on the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube in the Red and Black Report. All right, let's jump into the first report, and that is from Don Williams of the Lubbock Avalanche Journal. He says two sources with direct knowledge say Texas Tech is finalizing the hire of Imarjaye Albury Sr. as defensive line coach. He's assistant defensive line coach with the Minnesota Vikings and has been on the Vikings staff for 6 years. There is a lot to unpack here, as he has spent his time in Minnesota doing multiple roles, which I think is a positive for the Red Raiders. So he has experience being a pro scout as well, working with the former general manager there up in Minnesota. He also served as the defensive quality control / assistant linebacker coach in his first 2 seasons in Minnesota. That was the COVID year of 2020 and then 2021. He then spent 2023 and 24 as the defensive assistant before being named the assistant defensive line coach ahead of this past season on Kevin O'Connell's staff up there in Minnesota, working under Brian Flores. He brings 8 years of coaching experience. He, coached in the collegiate ranks and also at the professional level. Now, the interesting part about Alberry is he has Big 12 ties. He actually played at West Virginia in 2012. Obviously, there's some interesting stuff there, but also he's got some Tech ties in the sense of, okay, he played at West Virginia in 2012. Well, he's got a tie to Dana Holgorsen. Obviously, he has, a plethora of ties to Texas Tech, does Dana. But an interesting fact also, he has a tie to a former Texas Tech defensive coordinator and now ACU head coach, Keith Patterson. That's very interesting as well. He's also got another tie to a Red Raider, and that in now Mike Smith, who is on the Patriots staff. He was, with Mike Smith was Alberry as the Vikings outside linebacker and pass rush specialist coach in 2022 and 2023, as Albury Sr. worked directly under him in terms of Mike Smith when he was the outside linebacker coach up in Minnesota. Now, it's interesting in the sense of I'm not going to act like I know much about Albury at all. I don't think that that's fair to you. I don't think it's fair to me as well. I'm not going to act like I know too much about him. I will say that I am excited about this hire for a multitude of reasons, most notably this. I love the first fact that he knows what it's like to be a Texas Tech Red Raider in the sense of he's worked with plenty of them, right? Mike Smith, he's worked with Dana Holgorsen, he's worked with Keith Patterson, right? Like multitude of guys that know what it takes to be successful here in Lubbock. But that's probably at the lowest part of this. The biggest thing for me is this, okay? He knows what it looks like to be a pro, okay? He has worked in Minnesota for over a half decade. What is the objective of the likes of Mateen Ibaragba, AJ Holmes Jr., right? The multitude of guys Texas Tech added in the portal, from JoJo Johnson, Bryce Butler, Julian LaVenture, right? There's a multitude of guys Texas Tech has added alongside of AJ Holmes Jr., who technically was added in the portal just a prior year, right? He knows what it looks like to be a pro. I think that is going to be pivotal for Texas Tech in continuing upon that momentum that they built last season in the trenches on the defensive line, because now Albury can go into that room and be like, hey, I played at the college level. I know what it's like to be in your shoes, but I also have been around pros each and every day for the past 6 years. I know what it looks like. If you listen to me, I can help you get there, right? Like you're going to have to work hard. There's no doubt about it, but I can help you with the nuances in your game to have you have a better chance to be a pro because I've seen it each and every day for going on 6 years, technically 7, right? That's the big thing for me. Also, this was a highly coveted job. Joey Maguire talked about how he had some final interviews and there was a multitude of people and he had options for this specific role on the defensive line. He also said the same thing for the outside linebacker coach. But this is a big one for Texas Tech because you think about what they did last year with the Lee Hunters of the world, AJ Holmes Jr., Skylar Gill Howard. Lee Hunter and Skylar Gill Howard, they're going to the NFL Combine. So the NFL is obviously taking notice of what the Red Raiders have done. You have to build upon that momentum, and you went out and got guys in the portal that are going to be really good players, but you kept the most important one in AJ Holmes Jr. And I think, again, this job was highly coveted. This is a guy in Alberry that knows what it looks like to be a pro. He knows what it's like to play at a high level in big-time college football as he's played at West Virginia, right? He knows what this is. And I don't think he leaves a role up in Minnesota if he thinks, okay, this is a downgrade. This is something that can propel him. Texas Tech is one of the premier programs in college football as they set the foundation in 2025. They went out and reloaded in the trenches, most notably on the interior of that defensive line. And now you get a guy that knows what it looks like. Okay, and I can't state that enough. I think that that's something that on the recruiting trail is going to pay off big for the Red Raiders because he can go into any home of any high schooler and basically say, hey, you have interest in playing in the NFL? I know what it looks like to get there. I've been around some pretty damn good ones up in Minnesota during my time, right? He knows what it looks like to play against them as well, and he knows what it looks like to scout them, right? Because he has that pro scouting experience. He also knows what it looks like to coach them. So I think that that's going to be a really interesting dynamic here because obviously he's going to be asked to recruit, right? He has some college experience. He's done the recruiting thing, but it's a little bit different when you're playing big boy football, right? At this type of level, I think it'll be very interesting to see how things go, but the timing of this was imperative for the Red Raiders in the simple fact of you needed to get your defensive line coach in there before spring ball so you can build those relationships. So it's not just like, hey, listen to me. I don't really know you, but just listen to what I'm telling you to do, right? And I know a lot of people will be like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do as a player. You're supposed to listen to your coach at all times. It's not how it works. It's just not. Okay. Like you have to build that camaraderie. You have to build that respect. You have to build that authentic relationship for players to get the absolute most out of them if you are a coach. You have to do that. So I think the timing was imperative for the Red Raiders. This is a solid hire. I'm not going to act like I know too much about him. I will say that I do like the experience side of it from the NFL because this is modeling an NFL program now. Modern college football is at the highest of levels, right? Texas Tech was at the forefront of the GM side of things, and now they're going out and they're getting coaches that have NFL experience to coach guys that want to get to the NFL and have NFL type skills. I like that from that perspective. So again, you've got Imarjaye Albury, senior, as the new defensive line coach for the Red Raiders heading into 2026. He comes through the Minnesota Vikings where he was on, well, in some type of role for the Vikings up in Minneapolis for the past 6 years. Good hire. Let's see how he recruits, but I love the NFL experience side of it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below as the Red Raiders are filling out their staff on the defensive side after losing a couple of coaches. Coach IU over to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then the Red Raiders not re-upping the contract of Coach Fitch there in the interior of the defensive line. But they do get their new defensive line coach and Minnesota Vikings assistant defensive line coach, Imarjaye Albury, senior. I like it. Let me know your thoughts again down in the comments below. And while you're down there, just double check that you're subscribed. It's 100% free. I'm going to leave you on this note, as I always do. I'm RC Maxfield, reminding you to stay safe and Recom Tech.